welcome to today's Senior Living. I'm your host, Doug Foster, and today's Senior Living is my seventh podcast. Now, George, that's amazing. I never thought that we were gonna get this far.
Man, I had a little faith,
But I ain't had no faith at all, man. Okay. Do we have my little precious Jim on the line?
Oh man, yes sir, we sure do. We have Miss Toya on the line for us right now.
Wow. Latoya Foster, are you there, baby?
Hey Miss
I
Toya,
am
how are you?
here. I
Well,
am here. Good evening, George. Good evening, Daddy. Good evening, today's Senior Living podcast.
that's exactly right. That's what we're talking about. Podcast.
That's right, that's
Podcast.
The
right.
podcast, the pod.
That's exactly
Uh-huh.
right. That's exactly right. Well, I mean, Latoya, we didn't have started this podcast. We started it mainly to make certain that we get all of our information out to our seniors, because our seniors are the most important thing that we can think about now uh, in this crisis that we have. I mean, did you know that half of the Medicare and Medicaid folks are being cut off? I mean,
Well,
come
we know
on
that
now.
there are significant changes being made. However, I will say here in Washington, D.C., what I can tell you with certainty is that Washington, D.C. has a 97% healthcare covered population. That's a fact. That's a data set for
Right.
you. I have heard some rumblings about some folks who may be rolled off the books,
Yep.
and that is something I would suggest everyone to familiarize themselves with more. I know that Mayor Bowser in Washington, D.C. has fought to ensure that all residents have access to quality health care, especially our most vulnerable population, which includes our seniors, of course.
Yes, of
Um,
course.
so I know she's taken significant steps. I know that she took significant steps in this budget season to ensure that the most vulnerable communities have access to quality health care, dental coverage. And when we talk about health coverage, we're talking about not just you going to uh, check in with your doctor once a year. I'm talking about your eyes, your ENT doctors, your
Yep.
dental, everything that it encompasses. But if you do have questions, I would encourage everyone to go to DC Health Link, DC Health Link, to learn more about what coverage looks like, what it's going to look like going forward. I spent some time separate and apart myself the other day, maybe a couple of days ago, and I said, let me go to the Social Security website out of curiosity. Now, admittedly, I'm not a senior yet. Not yet. I'm getting there. I'm getting close, but I ain't there yet. However, I do want to make sure that I'm prepared for what next looks like, even for myself. So let me look and see what does Social Security look like when I'm at an age to receive it. And it is a conversation that we need to have more of, to know that where will we be in the next 20 years? What are the needs of? And it's good that you're doing this podcast, Daddy and George, to make sure that the listeners out there are familiar with different opportunities, initiatives, programs, resources for seniors. And because seniors also, again, are starting a lot earlier now. It's not the 70 plus, 55 plus gets you to being a
Yep.
senior.
Yep.
You're qualified as a senior. You can go in that restaurant and get that good discount once you are at the age of 55. But there are a lot of resources out there and a lot of things that I think we all should familiarize ourselves with early, not later, much earlier. I was at one of my best friend's birthday parties on Sunday, and she was asking me about information related to her mother. She had stated that her mother had suffered a stroke, and that she was looking for resources to get therapists and different types of programs and resources for her mother, who right now is bedridden. And we were talking a bit about that. And there are a lot of facts that, and nobody talks to you about this either. But, something that I learned very early, Daddy, as you are aware, with health care, health coverage, and all of that with our senior communities, there are certain things you have to do very early on to ensure that you are able to be on the benefactor side of any programs and resources. You can't make over a certain amount. You can't have a certain
Yeah,
amount
you're
in the
right.
bank.
You're
You
right.
know, there's just certain things that you need to know. Either you're going to have to be really wealthy, or you got to really be crafty in how you get things done. That's the best way I know how to put it. But it is a conversation that folks need to have on the earlier side, not waiting until the time presents itself and then you're scrambling, trying to figure out how to deal with the what if that we always talk about. How many people actually have a power of attorney right now?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Right,
And powers of
absolutely.
attorney, people would think to themselves, they're like, oh, you know what? I'm married, so my spouse is going to be able to do X, Y, and Z. Well, maybe not. There is a really dire need for us to get our affairs in order again before the big what if happens, right? Medical directives, medical powers of attorney, which are very much different than your durable powers of attorney, your financial power of attorney. Did most of you know that when you walk into a bank or any financial institution, that they do not recognize a regular durable power of attorney? They don't. You think you're doing something when you walk in there with
Yeah,
that power
that's
of
exactly.
attorney?
You
It
haven't done a
means it
thing.
means nothing. Okay, your spouse, your children, nobody will have access to your bank accounts without a financial power of attorney issued by the financial institution and signed while you're at that financial institution. They will not accept a regular power of attorney that you just maybe had drawn up, had somebody notarize it or whatever.
Yeah.
They will not recognize that. That's a fact.
Yep.
I can also tell you with in your health care, your medical power of attorney is still also different. All of it is very much different. So I would encourage all of your listeners and followers out there on social media, Daddy, to learn more about getting your affairs in order.
Yep.
This conversation is stemming from you talking about healthcare coverage, but it's all of those things, right? All of it. And you just need to have those documents and those plans in place on the earlier side of your life, not waiting until the latter part or when the worst case scenario presents itself.
Well, I do know that many of us don't have the uh, living trust. Okay, I was scheduled to
Mhm.
have I was scheduled to have a expert in living trust to be on my show today. However, he did not make it. But of course, we're going to go back and come back at him again. But
Absolutely.
I didn't
That's a
know it.
topic that doesn't get old.
I had no idea that some people don't know what they are, a living trust. You know,
A lot of people don't know what a living trust is. A lot of people don't know what a medical
Med-
directive is.
nope.
These are just things, again, because you don't talk about them until a situation has presented itself that makes you talk
Yep.
about it,
Yep.
right? I remember when my mother was in the hospital and I wanted to get my hands on her medical records, right?
Right. I remember
Now,
that.
but here's the thing: just because I was the next of kin did not entitle me to her records. I had to have that power of attorney to get it, and that's what the lady at the counter told me. She said, "You'd be surprised how many people show up here and just say, I'm the spouse, I'm the daughter, I'm the son, I'm the
Mm-hmm.
granddaughter, or whatever to the patient, and expect to be able to get these very important documents. They're not going to release it to you. They will not release it to you. You have to have that document in place in order for them to do so, or you will not be able to attain access. It's some very interesting very interesting lessons learned
I,
about the legalities of being sick, the legalities of getting older, and the type of measures that you need to have in place.
yes, and I recall very well that you couldn't, with regards to her retirement, you was not able to get her retirement
No, you cannot.
or any of her funds,
No,
and
mm-mm.
and that
No,
was
that's
amazing to me. That
no. It's if you look at the Social Security website, and you'll learn that only offspring that are disabled, um, who are dependents, are benefactors from their parents' Social Security. The spouse is, but the children are not. So if you have one living parent and you all are the offspring of that one living parent, once that parent passes away, the pension doesn't continue. It doesn't trickle down. It cuts off. Social Security cuts off. Retirement cut off.
that's
All of
exactly
it cut
right.
off.
All of it cuts
That
off,
that was a very real thing. It only goes to the spouse, not the kids.
and so that the premises for today's senior living comes directly from your experience uh, during that time. You and I
Yeah,
talked about it. That's why. That's how
we did.
That's how. That's how we came about today's senior living, because of
Very real.
all of these issues that we had or that we saw that we just didn't think was appropriate.
You wouldn't
Is
know. You wouldn't know what you don't know what you don't know,
that,
and it's
and you,
not until somebody else has to be that
that's
sacrificial lamb that you kind of learn
that's
about
exactly
all
right.
of these different things and legalities, and it's quite a challenge. It
And,
really is quite a challenge.
and there's no manual that can tell you how to walk through this. Okay, I
There's
make
no manual, but
there's
the
nothing.
best thing that we can do as families right now, and I'm so glad that you all are having these conversations, is to really encourage your listeners and your followers to
And
have these conversations. I remember I had a great aunt, Aunt Emma, and she would try to sit me down when I was very young and talk to me about certain things that she had put in place. And I didn't want to necessarily hear it because I thought it was morbid. And I didn't want to think about that. You want to talk about, you say,
good
let's not
things.
talk about that right now. We're going to, we're going to live in the moment. We ain't worried about that. We're not worried about death. We're worried about living. Well, two things can be true. Yeah, that part is real. However, you do have to have some measures in place. You just do.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to lie to you. You have to take the time because it is inevitable. It will happen. And let
Yes.
me say this, it is not just about being a senior either. These things can happen at any age,
Anytime.
quite frankly.
Anytime. Anytime.
I
Well,
mean, it's more of a chance of it happening when you are older,
yeah.
but these things can happen to you at any age. Life can change at the blink of an eye,
No
and you just
question
need to
about
have
that.
these measures in place to be ready for if that big what if ever is to happen.
Well, Latoya, I'm going to have to take a break right now because we're going to come back, and I hope you will come back with us so we can have other conversations about seniors and senior issues, because that's what this program is all about. Today's
That's
senior
right.
living. Thank you for being on today's senior living. Of course, we certainly appreciate all that you do and all that you've been doing, and we'll get back to you this time next week. So
Looking
take
forward to it.
take care, baby. We'll
See
see
you
you
both.
later.
Bye
We'll take
bye.
a, we'll take a break right now, and we'll be right back. This is today's Senior Living. Your host, Doug Foster, and we'll be right back. Welcome back to today's Senior Living. I'm your host, Doug Foster, and today we're going to be talking a lot about senior issues because those are very important issues, not only to uh, the seniors, but also to our loved ones. I mean, when your mom passed and when your father passed and when people in your family pass, what do you do? Where do you go? And what's the next step? There is no manuals, there's no books to tell you exactly what to do next. So I want everybody to pay attention. But if you got a comment, please call us here at 202-810-2663. That's today's Senior Living. But do we have another guest on the line, George?
We sure do. Right now we have Dr. Sharon Coleman on the line joining us via Zoom. How are you, Doctor?
Well, hello. I'm not doctor, but I
That's all right.
appreciate you prophesying in advance.
All right.
Well, that's all right.
Yes,
Sharon,
good evening.
good evening, Sharon. You know, I always like to talk to on WOL 1450 every Saturday. We got my co-host. Hey, co-host.
Yes.
How are you,
Hey,
co-host?
it's been a while.
It's been a while,
I'm
girl.
doing great.
Listen, I
Yes.
am just doing what I'm doing. You understand what I'm saying? And
I hear you.
but see, you're a world traveler these days, so I want you. People don't know that you're a world traveler. You know what I'm saying? But Sharon, tell us about all the good. Where have you been? It's my understanding you have been all over. Now, you are not a senior yet because you and my daughters are baby seniors. But y'all take the
That's
benefit.
correct.
Y'all got your AARP cards, and you
I
taking
surely do.
and you taking advantage of those discounts, just like you if a
I
senior.
do.
Keep up the good work
Yes.
because you're gonna need them.
I sure will. As a matter of fact, I think I'm gonna make sure I use them on my next trip.
But that's all right, Sharon. Listen, Sharon, I know royalty business is still going, and the group is still together. So what are some of the great and wonderful things you guys been doing over there at Royalty Business Group?
Well, we have started monthly webinars. They are free for anyone to join. The next one is coming up on July the 21st at 12 noon, where we're going to be talking about doing a mid-year retirement readiness. And it's called Mid-Year Retirement Readiness Check.
That's
And
good.
people can go to Eventbrite and register for this. But we're going to be talking about just basically doing a review of your documents, seeing where you are, making sure that your beneficiary forms are up to date, any other important documents, as well as common retirement planning mistakes. We're going to be talking about that on July the 21st at 12 noon Eastern time. So people can go to Eventbrite and they will be able to register for this free webinar. And I'll be hosting one every month, so a different topic. So they just have to stay tuned so they can know what's going on and attend one, and you'll get information about all the others.
So, what's some of the most important documents that we need for some of the retirement? What are some of the most important things that we need to be planning for if we plan to retire? Now, I do know that we have very few civil service people now. Most of all our people are FERS, or there are now 401ks. What are some of the things that people are going to need, Sharon, when they come to you and say, listen, I'm a royal mess. I'm getting ready to retire, and I'm at the age, and I'm all over the place. What is the first step?
Well, first, we want to make sure that they are eligible to retire. So making sure that they
What do
have
you mean when you
all the
said
documentation.
if I'm old enough,
Hey,
I can retire if I'm old, huh? So what you
you
mean?
know it's not that easy. You know it's not that easy. You know that you got to have not only the age, but you have to have the years of service in place. So you want to make sure that all of those things are together. And I want to debunk the misconception I used to hear back in the day. If you have a combination of 85, then you could retire with like 30 years and 55. But that's not the case. It has to be the age is one thing, and the years is something else. It's not a combination of the both for the
Right, you're
federal
right.
government. And so that's one thing. Also, you want to make sure your beneficiary forms and your survivor benefit, you know who is supposed to get what. I heard you talking earlier to Latoya about trust and wills and things of that nature, and power of attorneys. So you want to make sure that all of that is in place, especially when you are of sound mind, because once you're not of sound mind, then you can't legally sign anything, and it becomes more difficult for your family. So you want to make sure that you have everything up to date when it comes to your beneficiary forms, especially for the fact that beneficiary forms supersede any type of wills or trust that you have. So if
Really?
you want to have, yeah, so if you want to have, let's say, your life insurance to be executed based on your will, it has to be listed on your beneficiary form. So you want to make sure those things are up to date. And just any other like important documents that are in your file. Are you eligible for Social Security? Will you be going to get Social Security when you become eligible? Some of those things are big decisions for people as they are approaching retirement.
So let me ask you a question. Though we have the federal government retirement system, you have the D.C. government retirement system, you have a Prince George County retirement system, and you have a Montgomery County retirement system. Are they all different or are they the same? Because this is a federal government DC. Well, the DMV is all about government. We are policy people. We are government employees. That's what we are. That's what we do. We don't make any cars. We don't make clothes. All we do is set policies. So, with that said, are all of the agencies in D.C. government, Prince George County government, as well as Montgomery County government, are they all the same?
Oh, no, they're not the same. We know that back in the late 80s, probably around 87 or 89, DC government switched to their own retirement system. Prior
Yeah.
to that, they were under the federal government. So a note to those people like me who are baby seniors and might have had their first summer job through DC Summer Youth Employment. If you did, that time is credible for federal service. But
Okay.
each state and county government, city are different or can be different. So one of the things that you have to make sure, again, going back to eligibility, reviewing that eligibility based on what government part of state, county, what you work for. Also, try to make sure whether or not your benefits transfer over when you do retire. Are your health insurance benefits going to transfer? What about your life insurance? And how much will that cost you as a retiree so you can make those decisions beforehand? Is it a pension or a 401k? Because that also determines how much money you're going to receive. A pension normally lasts your lifetime, depending on how it's set up. A 401k will last as long as, based on the amount of money that you put in and the decisions that you make about it. So you want to make sure, again, that you're understanding the rules that are based for whether you work in federal, state, county, city, as well as in a private sector company. You want to make sure you understand the rules and regulations as it applies to you.
So, Sharon, with regards to matching funds, uh, those funds that are matched with the 401 under FERS, how those funds are matched? You get the total benefit of the matching funds in your retirement packages?
Yeah, so yes, once you are vested, then you are able, when you take the money out during your retirement or after you
Right.
separate from federal service, then you do get to keep those monies
Okay.
that has been matched. And they only match up to 5%. So employees need to know it is great for them to put in more than the matching, but under the federal thrift savings plan, they only match up to 5%.
Okay. Sharon, before we go, would you give us your contact information where where my constituents would be able to get in touch with you? How do we get in touch with you?
Well, they can go to my website, and that's royaltybusinessgroup.com, royaltybusinessgroup.com, and get on my mailing list. You can reach out to me directly at Sharon, SHARON, at royaltybusinessgroup.com. That's my email address. And you can send me an email, and I'll respond, and we can set up a time to talk.
You have a website?
royaltybusinessgroup.com,
All right.
www.royaltybusinessgroup.com. And make
Well,
sure you register for the July 21st webinar that I have coming up, because it's going to be some great information. And every month I'll have something new and exciting to talk about.
and don't forget to to listen to us on Saturday from 2 to 4 on WOL 1450 AM or 92.7 FM. And we're going to see you Saturday. Am I correct?
I will be there.
Well, thank you so kindly, Sharon, for being on today's Senior Living. And we're going to talk about that vacation that you took to Italy, Spain, and Morocco. You just went all over the place.
I didn't go to Morocco this time. That's
But
on my bucket list. But how I ate too much and spent too much money. That's what we were talking
I
about.
got you. Well, we're going to take a break right now, Sharon. And thank you again for coming on today's Senior Living. It's always a pleasure to see you, and we'll talk to you again on Saturday. But this is today's
All right,
Senior.
thank you.
All right then. Bye now. That's Sharon Coleman,
Bye-bye.
but this is today's Senior Living. I'm your host, Doug Foster. And don't forget, we're on Saturdays on WOL 1450 AM, 92.7 FM every Saturday from 2 until 4. So we will be right back. We'll take a break now and come back and Well, welcome back to today's Senior Living. I'm your host, Doug Foster, and today's Senior Living is all about seniors and senior issues. Nevertheless, I mean, though we venture off and do other things, but our seniors are the most important to our program because seniors are the people that are the least, the last, and the lost. So I hope that we have another caller on the line.
Yes, we do. Right now we have Mr. Jimmy Davis. How are you, sir?
Well, and yourself?
I'm doing well, thank you. Welcome to today's Senior Living.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Hey, Jimmy, how are you?
Hi, I'm doing well.
Well, thank you.
Congratulations.
Well, Jimmy, we're doing all that we can to make things. There you are, Jimmy. Today's Senior Living on one side and Jimmy Every Black on the other side. So Jimmy, tell us a little bit about what's going on with AI and what's new all of a sudden. I don't get a chance to talk to you on Saturdays. Listen, I am not going to stop talking to you about AI, okay? That's one thing. And I'm not going to stop talking with you about AI on Saturdays, okay? And I'm not going to stop being at the Zoom meetings on Mondays, okay? So talk to us, Jimmy, and welcome to today's Senior Living First podcast. Seventh podcast. This is our seventh podcast, but this is the first time that we test our Zoom package, okay?
Okay. Okay. Well, just to give you an overview, lately I've been working with churches on AI. Right. And I don't know if you or maybe some of your audience have heard, some people are skeptical of AI. Even some people think it's of the devil. I've heard that, and that it's evil. But I tell people it's just a tool.
Yeah.
It's just another tool, and it's not going away anytime soon. And so I just tell people we have to learn how to use AI because, like I said, it's not going away, and it actually can make us more efficient and proficient in whatever it is that we're doing. So
Absolutely.
I had a couple of churches reach out to me, and I created actually a course for I call it the AI for the modern church, and basically how to improve the church. For example, one of the things that every church has are volunteers. Well, and every church also has the needs for volunteers. So, for example, each volunteer might have different restrictions. Maybe some volunteers can't work on a Monday, or on a particular Sunday, or some volunteers can only put in a couple of hours. Well, you can put all of that into AI, the list of all the volunteers you have, and the list of all the needs you have, and AI will come up with a schedule solution for you within seconds. Whereas it might take you hours, pen and paper, to figure out who's going to work the parking lot on a Sunday morning, who's going to greet the people at the front door. It literally will do in seconds what could take hours to do. And that's just one example of how AI can be used. I say AI for the modern church. Another example too, and stop me if you need to go and get on a roll here. I get excited about
That's
this
all
stuff.
right. I know you, but hold on. Hold that point for a moment. My producer, George, is a church guy.
Oh, okay.
That George is a church guy at one of the largest churches here, black churches in the District of Columbia. Okay, so
Okay.
I'm here. I want George to hear what you got to say about what AI is doing to churches. Okay, go
Right.
ahead.
Yeah, I'm listening.
Okay, right. Well, like I said, and I was getting this, from other people as well. How can I use AI in the church? And for example, even the pastor's sermon, you can, excuse me, you can ask AI to give you an outline of a particular sermon, maybe on a particular scripture. And what's really nice about it, it'll give you that outline within seconds. But now you can also tell it to give me a corresponding Bible study based on the same scripture. And within seconds again, now you've got something for Bible study. The third thing you can do, the same scripture, now give me a children's story that the children can understand, right? So within literally seconds, you've got your outline for your sermon, you've got your Bible study, you've got your children's church, and it's all consistent, the same message. Now, I also tell people though too, AI is not the Bible, so we don't take it as as gospel. It's a tool, but it's not replacing the Bible. So you still need to make sure you've got someone that's in the position, proper position to scrutinize and make sure that what's coming out of AI is correct, because it can hallucinate. It can sometimes come up with things that aren't necessarily factual, or maybe it doesn't correlate with the teachings of that particular faith or that particular church. So you do have to do that. Now, the good thing is that you can train it to make sure that it
Get
does.
out of here.
Yeah, you can actually train your AI so that it does correlate or correspond to the teachings that you want for your particular faith, your particular church. And the way you do that is most of these programs have what's called projects. And so you can create a special project and train it on this project. So the church project can be trained on, maybe you want to upload the plans for the expansion of the church, or upload the biography of the principal pastor, or maybe whatever the doctrine is of that particular church.
Right,
You
right.
can upload that into AI so that when it creates the responses from your questions, it's always consulting the whatever you've uploaded, the biography or the doctrines of the church. You can even give it a website. Say, this is the website. Make sure that everything is, in alliance or with whatever it is on your website. So it comes up with those answers. Another way we use the church is sometimes churches have different meetings. And again, stop me because I'm on a roll here.
That's all right. Keep it rolling, Jimmy. Keep it rolling. You got a few more minutes, okay? I'll
Okay.
cut you off.
Okay. Sometimes the church, well, every church has a different meetings. Maybe you got a women's ministry and a men's ministry and a and a seniors ministry, right? But you only have maybe limited meeting space. And also, when the church is being used for things outside of the Sunday sermon service, then maybe you have your custodial staff is only available at a certain time. Bottom line is you can put in all of these factors, and maybe each ministry has particular needs, right? And you don't want to overlap any ministry using the same space at the same time. That's not going to work. So you can put in all the needs of each ministry, put in all of the physical spaces that you have available for meeting, put in all the restrictions as far as cleaning or whatever it is that, the time someone can open the door and lock the door in the evening. And you just ask AI, create me a schedule now, a monthly schedule for the seniors to meet, the women to meet, for the youth to meet, and for the men to meet. And it just gives you the schedule literally within minutes. But you have to feed it the information, feed it what it is that you wanted to address.
So AI can do anything but deliver the word, huh?
Yeah, just about. You still need that human touch, but it just helps to organize sermons. It helps to organize announcements. You can use it for. Here's another good example for welcoming people. Usually, most churches, when you go, they'll have a visitor's card, right? And they may read off the visitors for that Sunday. And you might get a call sometime in the midweek. But in reality, most of us, in order to really make a decision of whether it's a church or buying a car, we need to be approached several times. They say actually the average person has to be approached about 7 times before they make a purchase, right? If you're going to go buy a car or buy a house, whatever it might be, you don't just buy the first one you see. You shop around a little bit and you look around. And some places, will follow up with you and some places will not. So you can have AI, if you've got a welcome card submitted that this is the first time they visited the church on a particular date, You can have AI program AI to, after week one, follow up with another thing. After week two, follow up with another thing. You know, you're following up with this new visitor week three, week four. And if the visitor says they're interested in the music industry or music ministry, or they're interested in the youth ministry, where every time you have something with the youth or the music or whatever it is they're interested in, AI will pop up and say, hey, visitor so and so wants to know more about the youth. Let's send him a message that we're doing something for the youth this coming week. So it can really help you organize and follow up. And just like anything, uh, before we make that purchase or decision, they say the fortune is in the follow up. And that applies to the church as well. So if you follow up with new visitors, you'll find that more visitors will begin attending the church and begin becoming members of the church.
That's very
So,
good stuff.
yeah.
Jimmy, again, thank you. Of course, I got to take a break, but before I go, can you give my audience your contact information?
Sure thing. Yeah, and like I said, I get on the road with this stuff, but it's Jimmy at every.black. You can see my logo on the back there, EVERY.BLACK. And there's no .net, no .com. The website is www.every.black, just like it sounds. And that's it.
Well, thank you, Jimmy. Of course, I'm going to see you on Saturday.
Absolutely.
All
Absolutely.
right. Thank you so kindly for being on today's Senior Living podcast version of today's Senior Living. And we hope that you'll come back again. Jimmy, would you come back again on our podcast?
Oh, sure thing. Just let me know when. I'll be glad to do so.
Certainly, certainly. Thank you again, Jimmy, for being on today's Senior Living. And all of you good people out there who wants to know a little bit more about Every Black, give us a call here at 202-810-2663. We'll take a break and we'll be right back. So, welcome back to today's Senior Living. I'm your host, Doug Foster, and today's Senior Living is all about seniors. It's about the things that we live with each and every day and the things that we live without. And those things that we live without are the things that are costing us more. And if you don't know what the cost is out there, try going to get some insurance, okay? Or try going to get uh, uh, a supermarket. Go to the supermarket, and you'll find out what cost is out there. And for seniors, I mean, it's incredible. We have another caller on the line.
Yes, we do. Right now, we have Mr. Kenneth Williams on the line right now from Living Trust Accounts.
Hey, Ken, how are you?
I'm great if you can hear me.
Oh, well, I can
Can
hear
you
you,
guys hear me
Ken.
okay?
Oh, yeah, but I want to see you. We're testing our Zoom package today. If you could turn on your camera.
My camera is on. I'm not sure why you can't see me.
But that's all right. We got the Ken. We was talking a little earlier today about wills, and we were talking about living trusts. So why don't you give us an overview of first of all, what is the primary purpose of a living trust, and how does it how does it fit into the overall estate planning?
Okay, very good question. First of all, let me distinguish. A revocable living trust is one that you can change your mind anytime after you create it. And the primary reason for a revocable trust is to avoid probate court.
Uh-huh.
Everything, upon your passing, everything you own is subject to probate court, even if you have a will. A will only tells the court how to dispose of your assets, but you still have to go into the court system, and you can actually lose up to about 10 to 15% of your assets by going through the court system. So the primary reason for having a revocable living trust is to avoid probate.
What is a trust type?
Well, there's several. There's a number of different trusts. Okay, everything from an irrevocable trust. There are crummy trusts. I mean, there is a boatload of trusts that will fit whatever you're trying to accomplish. But the primary thing that most people need to have is your basic revocable living trust to avoid probate court. The other trusts come into play when you're trying to save tax dollars because your
Right.
estate is so high, or you're trying to protect someone. So, but the trust that almost every person needs to have is a revocable living trust.
What assets should be placed into a trust, and what should remain outside of a trust?
Inside of a trust primarily should be everything you own is subject to probate court. The things that avoid probate court are things with a named beneficiary, such as your 401k or your IRA account. If you name an individual, that will avoid probate court. Depending on how you have your home title, could possibly avoid probate court. Sometimes, now, if you have an automobile of any value, that is probatable. You may not want to have it go in there if it doesn't have value. You may not want to name it inside of your trust, but it still is a probatable item. All your jewelry can be probatable. They will send an appraiser to your home to determine if you have expensive art there, which would be
Right.
a probatable asset.
Uh, so let's talk a little bit about trust and benefits. Who should serve as a trustee, and what qualities and qualifications matters most?
I think the most important thing is to be able to communicate whoever your successor trustee is going to be. The trustee initially is the donor. The person who actually put the trust in force is the initial trustee. And nothing changes for that person except that now their name has a comma behind it in the word trustee. So once they move their bank account to the trust, now it's their name, comma, trustee. The successor trustee is a person that takes over your trust after you pass. And that person can be anybody from a institution like a bank, or it could be a relative.
Mm-hmm.
The most important thing is that the person needs to be capable of following through with your directions. And more importantly than that, they need to be a willing participant. So you don't just name someone without having a discussion with them saying, do you want to take on this responsibility after I pass? So the most important thing there is communications.
Well, let's talk about the beneficiary rights. What rights does a beneficiary have while I'm alive and after I pass?
Beneficiary has no rights. Okay, the donor who set up the trust, they could change the trust at any time that they want to, and that's why it's called a revocable trust. But the beneficiary has no power in that trust until that person passes away. And after that person passes away, now it becomes an irrevocable trust. So after that person passes away, it cannot be changed or
Right.
duplicated. That's where the beneficiary gets to take advantage of the definition of what they're going to inherit is after that person passes away. Up until that point, the beneficiary has no power at all.
How can I structure a distribution to protect beneficiaries or control timing?
Well, you can set up and that's the nice thing about a trust. You can put as many
Individuals in
points
there?
of interest inside of a trust that you want to. You can have a trust distribute assets based on the person's age. You can say whether that person needs a college education in order to get your assets. So anything you can imagine can go into the trust in terms of what criteria that person has to meet in order to get your assets. Okay, so I hope that answers your question. But the person who
Yeah.
actually is a beneficiary does not have any input at all.
Let's go talk about the financial tax considerations. How does a living trust affect taxes during my lifetime and after death?
Well, right now, because of the government keeps changing, when I first got into this industry, if a person owned anything over $600,000, it was subject to federal inheritance taxes. Now that threshold has been moved up to $15 million. So if a person is married, they can pass on up to $30 million without having federal inheritance taxes. But when I came on board, it was only 600,000, which meant that what you did was you set up a trust to avoid probate court. Those are called irrevocable trusts. So, and that's what irrevocable trust is designed to do. We don't use it that much for most Americans because unless you have over $15 million, it's not subject to you. A trust in itself does not save you any tax dollars whatsoever. When you set up a revocable trust, you're doing it for the convenience of your heirs so that they don't have to go through probate court. There is no financial benefit of setting up a revocable living trust for the person who sets it up. It's
You know,
only done as an act of love for the people you're going to leave your assets to.
you know, one of the things I found out, Mr. Williams, is that most people don't want to go to probate court. I mean, I know it's a daunting task. I've done it several times for individuals, but why is it that people wait so long after the person has passed away to go to probate?
Well, they actually have no choice. The bottom line is that you have a trust, either the one you set up or the one that the state that you live in set up. So, in order for the state to do what they need to do, they need to pull you through probate court to find out what you own. And then they identify what you own, then the state says this is how you must distribute your assets. So you either going to do it yourself and you take control of your assets, or you're leaving it up to the state to do it. And the state does it by making you go through probate court. That's how the state finds
Right,
out your assets.
right. What are the upfront and ongoing costs of maintaining a trust?
The initial setup is for a trust, depending on where you live at and the attorney that you use. An attorney can charge you. It's normally between $5,000 to $10,000 to set up a trust, depending on how complicated it is. Because you can imagine if you own like 4 or 5 different apartment buildings, if you own a business, all those things can be put into the trust. So it becomes more complicated. but for the simple idea of owning a home and basic kind of a situation, my company can do it for under $2,000, which is
Right.
basically about 50% less than what you can find with the attorney down the street.
Right. And now I'm going to talk about the one thing that most people don't want to talk about, and that's the real estate transfers. What steps are required to take place my home or rental properties into a trust? What
Well,
steps should
number
we take?
one, if it's rental property, you want that rental property to be number one, an LLC. It doesn't
Yeah.
have to be, but that's important. And then you just name that piece of property and you put inside of a trust. A trust doesn't mean anything until it's funded or until you actually put assets inside the trust. For instance, if you set up a trust and you don't put your assets in that trust, it's nothing but an expensive will. Okay, so when you set up a trust, you have to name your bank as the trustee, as the trust. You have to own your property as the trust. So everything you own has to be titled the trust in order for it to avoid probate court. If you don't do it, there's a thing called a pour over will. Only thing a pour over will does is that if you had an item that you bought and you forgot to put it under your trust, a pour over will assume that it should have been under the trust and pull it inside the trust, if I'm being clear. However, if it's not named, if that piece of asset that you bought is still probatable. Even though it goes under the umbrella of the trust, it only goes under the umbrella of the trust so that it can be distributed based on your or your desires. But that piece of asset is still probatable. If that makes sense, okay?
Of course it does. And what are the most common mistakes or risks that people face with living trusts?
Who don't fund it. What I mean by fund it, they don't name their assets inside the trust. They leave it outside. They do the trust, and they never put their home inside the trust. They never put their bank account inside the trust. Those assets never get named as part of the trust. So when that person died, they still go through probate court. So when you set up a trust, that's the biggest issue. People set up a trust and they forget to actually what we call fund the trust.
What is a TOB, a TOD deed, or or other tools that are used? What is a TOD deed?
A TOD deed.
Yes, a deed. Yes, is that some
Well,
sort
your deeds need to be. That's how you put your property inside the trust is with a deed.
of the deed of
Okay.
trust? Yes, deed
Yeah.
of trust.
That's how you actually, set up the trust.
Well, Mr. Williams, let me ask you if you could be so kind to provide us with contact information uh, of, of your company so we can have our people, our constituents to get in touch with you. Okay? Could you give me
Well,
that?
my company is Core, CORE Financial Services USA.com. My mobile number, I'll give that out if you don't mind, is 215-499-9169. Even though I am located in the Nashville, Tennessee area, I got transplanted from the Philadelphia, New Jersey area. That's why the 215 area code there. The nice thing is you can have your mobile number for the rest of your life. You don't have to change it no matter where you live at.
Absolutely.
So that's a good thing. And my office number is 615-802-6887. One thing I want to point out, the company I interface with when it comes to setting up a trust, we are a national brand company, all right? So we have attorneys in every state in the union. So if you want to, investigate whether you want to set up a trust or what you need to do, we have a local attorney that can assist us in doing that.
And that doesn't. They have reciprocity in different states or in all states.
No, our organization just have an attorney, one or two or three attorneys in every state. It's not a matter of reciprocity. We have relationship with attorneys in every state in the union.
I got you. I got you. Mr. Williams, I'm always want you to be on my show on WOL 1450 AM. So tell me if we can get you back on our show on WOL, and what's your schedule look like on a Saturday?
Well, this coming Saturday, lucky for me, is another year that I get to hang out with my family. We have our family reunion And lucky for me, it's kind of close for the first time. We travel around the country with my family reunion, and this time it's going to be in Memphis, Tennessee, which is only about 200 miles away from me. But other than that, every Saturday, I work every Saturday, but I can always have the time to discuss it with you. I'm really disappointed that for some reason I'm not showing up on your video feed.
Well,
Even though my video says I'm on, but it's not showing up there.
I don't know. We're testing our Zoom packets also. So, but regardless of that, I mean, the fact is the information is out there, and that's the most important thing. But we're going to make adjustments so that the next time that we have the your picture set up, okay? But anyway. Hopefully next week I'm going to probably reach back out to you so I can interview you over at WOL, okay?
It was a pleasure sitting and speaking with you. I hope the information I passed out can be, some people will find it helpful and useful.
Well, at first, when we started the show off this evening, we were talking about things that our seniors need and the things that they don't have, and trust and wills. I want to come back and talk to you about the wills also, okay?
Okay, but that trust is the most important thing. Everybody needs to trust. If you own anything, you need to trust.
Well,
unless you want to give your money to the government,
I ain't trying to do that. Thank you again, Mr. Williams. We appreciate you being on today's Senior Living. Don't forget us here in D.C., okay? So
I appreciate you.
Thank you again. But that's our broadcast for today. But as we always say, stay healthy, stay strong, and remember, today's Senior Living is always here for you. Until next week, this same time and place, God bless.